Good morning, everybody. Well, as you can see, we're starting to harrow with 3 horses today. My goal is to get this one field seeded down this afternoon. We've got more rain coming in tomorrow. It's very borderline as far as dry enough to even plant, but I think we're going to be okay. So just want to explain a couple things, and then we'll go back to a little bit more of the droning and us harrowing out in the field. Now, keep in mind, guys, that when I do droning, unless I'm really clever about it, there is no audio on. Sometimes I'll have my GoPro on the cart with me, and then we can get the audio from the GoPro and put it with the droning. But there's a lot of times I can't do that, like today, and I'll even explain why and how I did today. To start with, I want to just explain that we have this morning Earl on our left, Ken in the middle, and Baron on the offside. And so let's go back to some more harrowing. And as you can see, William is here today, and he's actually driving the horses. It didn't start out that way, but I started doing the driving, and then he was just finished up on what he was doing. Actually, we've been having troubles with our planer. As you can see, we've planed a little bit of lumber right here. This is all shiplap for a customer in basswood. So what's been happening is my one motor that runs one of, actually the upper planer knives, has been giving us troubles, and it goes partway through the board and then just dies. As you can see, this one board is halfway through the machine, and that's where it stopped, because as soon as one stops, it's all done. So we have tried a bunch of different tests to see if it's the actual motor or if there's something else wrong. And we've come to the conclusion it is the motor. So that means I have to order a new motor. So when you buy a new motor, you got to make sure it's the right one. So this machine that I have is actually made in Switzerland, I believe it is, or maybe it's Sweden. Maybe it's Sweden. I think it's Sweden. But anyways, it doesn't matter. It's a Logasol, and so how do you go about getting a motor from something overseas? Well, Wood-Mizer actually makes a planer that is comparable. And so I've been talking with them this morning to find out if maybe I can get a motor from them, and it turns out that I can. But anyways, in the process of this, William had just finished up planing, and so he had walked out to the field and told me it had died again. And so I said, well, here, you take over. I'm going to run in and make some phone calls. So I went into the house and called up Wood-Mizer and actually a few different people. And so William went to doing the harrowing out in the field. So that is why he was in the picture when I did the droning, because I was actually waiting for for Wood-Mizer to call me back. And so I decided, well, this is a perfect time. I might as well get the drone up so I can catch somebody at least in the field with the horses. So let's go back to the field, and you can see what William is up to. And I'm not doing all this because I'm sitting around waiting for a phone call. But he did find out there. So anyways, like I'd said, because of the audio and lack thereof, when this happens, I kind of have to put some music or something on just so it's not just completely a dead video with no noise. And so if you guys don't like music, I apologize, but I'm telling you, it's getting harder and harder to get music that is usable without having to pay a fee for the use of it. And so that's one of the issues we're having with putting music on our videos any place. So most of the time I just don't even bother. I just go with the natural sounds. But anyways, enjoy this little section of William out harrowing, and hopefully later on this afternoon we can get it planted. Okay guys, I'm just getting ready for this afternoon. I'm putting my grass seed in for planting. This is Timothy, clover, and a little bit of alfalfa. It's economy mix. That's what I always use. Kind of your cheaper stuff, I guess. My ground is not such to plant alfalfa very good. Although with this little bit of a mix, I get some alfalfa a little bit, which is kind of nice. So I'll get this done and then we'll put the horses in. And after lunch, we'll start planting. Oops. Could you just hold Earl for me? And we'll get these guys unhitched and put these guys in the barn. Yep. Yep.
They're ready to go, aren't they?
Yep. Oop. Okay, Brenda, I got him. G. Be careful, G. 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 Careful, G. Careful, Ben. Oh. No. These young ones have done so well when it comes time to unhitch them right here in the barnyard in the doorway. And since they just started, I've been training them to stand still here while I get everybody unhitched. And they've been doing so well. Of course, by having Ken being a statue, when a horse comes ahead, oh, as you can see right there, he's hitched to Ken. So I didn't unhitch this strap right here, which is what's hitched to his collar and his hame. Oh, and so he learns that, oh, I can't go. I'm tied, basically. Oh, but I will also make them go back there where they're supposed to be and make them stand. Oh, because I want to turn the light on. Oh, oh, Earl. No, no. They're far from perfect. Don't claim them to be, but they do really well, in my opinion. So now I'm going to completely unhitch him, make darn sure nothing is between them when I lead him away, and then I'll bring him in. Oh, Baron. Once again, Baron can't go because a Ken generally would stay great. Baron, once again, he's still quite young, but he's still pretty darn trustworthy, but not 100%. Isn't that right, boy? So he still has his short strap to Ken's hames, and as long as Ken stays still, Baron can't go anywhere. So I'm going to put Earl into his stall, which is way down in the barn where he's going to go right now. It's a little bit risky. Brenda will be right here, so if case Ken moves at all, Baron's going to be able to move. But as long as Ken stays still and anchors him, he won't go anywhere. And generally, he stays good anyways. So Brenda, just keep an eye on Ken because once in a while he'll go over and eat some hay. Okay. Okay, so Earl is in his stall. Now we'll take Baron into his stall.
You could have a real problem there if they didn't behave.
Well, that's why you're here. Oh.
No, but if no one was here.
I wouldn't have done it exactly the same way if nobody was there. Anyways, everything's going well. As soon as I take Ken's bridle off him, sometimes he goes and eats hay, sometimes he stands there like a statue. And I'm fine with it either way. I prefer him standing still, but he's perfectly free to pull ahead a little ways, and I don't really care. Because it's all habit. It's all what we do day after day. So as you can see, we've got Duke in also. So I worked him a little bit yesterday. Can't remember what he did with him, but today he may or may not get worked. I'm not positive. But we've got to get this. Most important is getting this one field seated down. That's my goal for today. So right after lunch, we'll probably get right at it and hitch them onto their grain drill. This is probably the first time either Baron or Earl I'm sure Earl has never done this before. Baron, I don't think he's ever done this. So what I'm going to do today, and I've never done it with 3 horses, never needed to, but today I'll use 3 horses to plant with. I will put the cultipacker behind the grain drill to make a nice seed bed after I go through the grain drill. And it pulls very heavy for 2 horses. My older mature horses handle it no problem, but just to put the young ones to do that job, Baron could handle it all right, but I've got the 3 horse cart set up, so why not use Earl at the same time? Hey! Leave him alone. As you can see, Skip still harasses the cats, but he's quite good about it. When I holler at him, he does generally stop and behave, but he's still a puppy. Well, hopefully we'll see you after lunch with the grain drill.
Look what we have here. I just noticed the other day, Whitey went crawling down into Duke's, where he stays at night when he's in here, and underneath his grain box, and there's some kittens down here. She just came jumping out, and I thought, why is she down there? And sure enough, there's some kittens. I don't know how many there are. I haven't, oh, so cute. I haven't really looked, but I think there's 3 or 4 maybe. I can only really see good 2 right now, but I know I can see 3. And there might be 1 more. Anyways, they look like they're a few weeks old. I didn't even really know that Whitey was pregnant. This time, she's a mother of them all. And this time, she surprised me. So as you can see, there's where Jim feeds grain. And here's the manger. And she's tucked down in there.
We gotta remember that, well, I don't know which it is, but one of these bridles have a shorter check rein to keep his head up. Was he putting his head down low this morning when you were working him?
Yeah, he was.
Was he tight, the check rein tight when he was doing that? Did you notice? Probably didn't notice it. Because one of these check reins I have shorter, so to slowly try to get his head up there where it belongs. Hey. Hey. Alright, let's see if we can get them all with the pole. Este pa. Catch up. Really? Careful. Oh, ma. Oh, hoop. Hoop. So a lot of times when I'm hitching horses up like this, I'll have it all set up at the truck body. But since I would have had to hitch onto the grain drill. The grain drill, it's kind of hard to hitch onto a little bit, so I decided let's just back the whole cart right up and get hitched onto the grain drill, and then we'll drive the horses over the tongue and hitch them up that way, and that works pretty good. So I'm just gonna hold the horses while William gets them hitched up, and then we gotta actually put some oats in, and then we want to drive around the driveway. I like to do this every year and put it in gear so that we can actually, William will be able to walk behind and make sure all the seed is dropping properly before I go out into the field. So that's what we're going to do. The grain drill and then the cultipator even more so are very noisy. Not really that terribly noisy, but it's just different. And so I'm expecting a little bit of a spookiness to the horses as we go a little ways. And careful, step. Careful. 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 Oh. Okay, William, let's go get some oats because we want to be able to make sure the oats are working too. So William is getting the wheelbarrow, getting 3 more bags. I think I'll just put 200 pounds in. These are 50-pound bags, so for this field, first field, I'm sure 200 pounds will be plenty. I don't know why, but I was thinking the oats were in where the oats are in the horse barn, and that's why I said you don't even need to bother with the wheelbarrow, but I remembered over there. Take that last bag and just make sure it's all leveled in here. I got a soft tire. And then kick it in gear as I come back to the truck body.
Okay.
Hopefully you've got enough time to inspect it all. Go through the grass seed first. Just get really close and just watch. You should be able to see it come out on every single one of them.
Yeah.
And then for the oats, I think you're going to be able to see it right on the. I don't think it's going to be buried enough. Matter of fact, I'll get over, probably even over there where it's really even harder.
Yeah.
So it won't sink. Brenda, can you just unsnap? Ken? G over there. G. 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 G over there. G over there. G over there. So now I'm just going to put it in gear and it will drop down. Careful, careful. Oh. What'd you see?
Seating, yeah.
Oh, good. Right. So we know the drill is working. So now we're just going to make it safe and easier. We're going to get the skid steer, bring the cultipacker over and hitch it on by hand, and then we're ready to go.
And I could see this one falling out.
Yeah, it's loose enough. It's just So just to make sure we don't lose the cultipacker, I'm going to put a spike in here. You're not helping me at all, guy. Get. And then and that'll hold it from falling out. It seems like one time it did actually fall out, and then I had a difficult time getting this hitch back up again. But yeah, it should work good now. If you could go put that back, I think I'm good to go. So I'm going to get William working on some things around here. I'm going to head out and start planting. I might plant part of it and let him take over and plant some of it also, so that he can experiment with my equipment. And who knows, maybe I can even get the drone back up in the air if the weather stays good, and I think it will. So we're all ready to go now. The cultipacker is all in the back of on the cedar. And as you can imagine, that's a heavy cultipacker, and it actually pulls quite hard. It was about all William could do to pull it into place. And so being a heavy piece of implement way back in the hitch, it just makes it all the harder. I've never actually planted with 3 horses because I've had the horsepower enough for 2 to do the job. But today we're going to use the same horse we used from this morning, but I'm going to do a little changing around. One person actually asked in a comment that something about, how did he say it? Something about the fact that the 2 horses on the evener had a lot easier pull than this 3rd horse out here, and he probably obviously did not realize that the evener is, you know, the difference of the actual evener itself made up the difference, so that all 3 of them are pulling the same amount. But because Earl is just a 3-year-old coming 4, and because Ken's an older horse that's in pretty good shape, and Baron's a coming 5-year-old is in really good shape, I'm going to adjust it so that Earl is actually going to be way out here. So that's going to be a good 4 inches extra leverage that he has over those 2. And so that just makes it so much easier on him. So if I can get this clevis out. It's actually upside down for what I want anyways. So we'll loosen this. So this will make it a lot easier on Earl. And of course it's going to make it harder on the other 2, but they're in better shape, so that shouldn't be an issue. Okay, I'm ready to go, I think. All right, guys. Yep, got that. So I'm going to put in gear right now. Oh. That cuff's up. Alright. Ah, yeah. Careful. So putting in oats and grass seed is a pretty non-stress type of operation because it really doesn't matter if the rows are straight as compared to corn, because we're not going to cultivate it. We're just going to let it grow as it comes out. And so it just takes some of the stress away from planting it. With corn, you know, we try to get nice straight rows. But to a degree though, even for myself, I still strive to have straight rows. When the drone shows the field, possibly today and later on this summer, it's going to show those crooked rows, and I don't know, it just doesn't look so well. So I am striving to have straight rows. I had told you in an earlier video that we did not get the rocks picked as perfect as I would have liked. Okay, up a guy. But because of this heavy cultipacker that we have, so many of these little rocks will be pushed right down into the soil and stay flat with the soil so that it won't be affected. It won't affect anything like the mow machine or anything like that. So that's good. This spot we just barely have gone through is the wettest spot in the whole field, and it is a little bit wet, but not too bad. Another thing about the grain drill is, careful, is if you can see that you've got a crooked spot in your rows, the next time around, a lot of times you can straighten them up a little bit by overlapping or leaving even a gap. So I do that some. But one of the biggest things you can do, which is bad, is, and people are so prone to do it, myself included, is so you're driving along like this and you just want to see how it's coming. So you turn all the way around and look. And that is where your next crook probably is. It's just like when you're plowing. To have nice straight, that very first furrow especially, you cannot turn back and look at that plow furrow. You need to keep your eye on whatever it is that you have in the distance to keep yourself straight. Now for myself, putting oats down, I don't worry about that so much. I just try to keep the horses fairly straight. I don't need to, I'm trying to get everything that I've plowed up. So if my furrow is a little crooked, well, my seeding will probably be a little crooked too, and I really don't care that much. Obvious. There's a few different ways to plant also. Some people would plant back and forth and take the drill out of gear every time. This is a very narrow field, so and it doesn't matter if it was narrow or not. More often than not, I will go just around the field because for me, that is the fastest way to get the job done. there's times where on the corners I leave gaps, but sometimes I will just go back through when I'm all done and go kind of crosswise in the corners to make sure we get everything covered. Earl is doing quite well, careful, but he is a little bit tired from his morning's work, and this is going to be a fair amount of work for him, and he's tending to kind of pushing in towards Ken a little bit, but we can live with it. I'm also pushing into too much into the, it's so easy for me to put the horse on the track that I had from the time before, but when I do that, I'm actually overlapping it a foot or so. So I gotta keep bearing off that track just a little bit. Okay guys, we've got the first field all planted. I'm mighty happy about that. Now we just gotta get turned around back to drill in. Well, I guess that's the end of our video, guys. I hope you have enjoyed the video and have a great day. We'll see you next time.